So object is nothing but table in the regular database. You call it as a table in the regular database. We call it as a object in the Salesforce. So objects are nothing but tables in the regular database. There are two types of objects what we have. One is a standard object, other one is a custom object. There are two types of objects what we have. One is standard object and other one is custom object. So what do you mean by standard object? So objects created by the Salesforce are called standard objects. Standard objects cannot be deleted. Anything that is created by the Salesforce cannot be deleted. Anything that is created by the Salesforce cannot be deleted. If you want, you can customize them. If you want, you can customize them. If you want, you can customize them, but you cannot delete them. You cannot delete them. Name some of the standard objects what we have. Account, contact, user, lead, opportunity. So the objects required to run the CRM operations or to maintain the security and permissions, whatever that is required, Salesforce has already designed those. They are called standard objects. Now, custom objects. According to your application, according to your requirement, whatever the objects, according to your requirement, whatever the objects you want to create, they are called custom objects. Objects created by the user according to organizational business requirement. Objects created by the Salesforce to meet up his objects created by the user to meet his organizational business requirement are called custom objects. Now, if the standard object is like this, we have custom object like this. How do you know it is a custom? We will have object name underscore C. How do you know it is a custom? Object name underscore C. Are you getting my point? So we have contact. We have these are custom objects. Next. Now, when you are going for the custom object or standard object, how do you recognize? How does the Salesforce recognize an object? Let it be a standard. Let it be a custom. Let it be a standard. Let it be a custom. But how does the Salesforce recognize an object? Salesforce will recognize an object based on 3-character ID. For every object, Salesforce will give 3-character IDs. Now, if you look at this, lead. So, what are you getting here? 00. Now, let I go to any object. If I give 00Q, it is taking it to what? Lead. If I give 001, it take it to account. If I give 003, it will take it to contact. 005, it takes me to user. Now, if you go to this, I have 800. Are you getting my point here? So, every object was given 3-character code. Based on the code, Salesforce will recognize which object was that. So, every object, let it be a standard or a custom, internally they are assigned with 3-character unique code. That unique code let you to recognize the object on which we are working. Right. Next. Fine. we have seen this. How do you create an object then? You have seen standard object, what is a custom object, how they are recognized. __ C for a UI. Internally, 3-character code is there based on which we will recognize. But the point here now is how to create custom object. How will you create custom object? Custom objects can be created in 3 different styles. One is standard navigation. By using a declarative navigation, we want to create. Second one, by using schema builder. Third one, by using metadata SOAP API web service. Using a web service, we can create. Generally, if people say deployment, when you are saying a deployment, what does it mean? What does it mean? The tables what you created on your test environment, they are recreated. They are recreated. General regular database languages if we use, we run the commands again. We run the commands in the Salesforce, it is an automation. Whatever we have in the sandbox, they are automatically created in the production. Who will create those? Metadata SOAP API web service. So, if you want a complete structure to be recreated in the production, you are not running any commands. You are not writing any program. What you are doing now, programs okay. How are you pushing the tables? How are you pushing the fields? Right here, internally we have what? Metadata SOAP API web service. By using them also, we can create. That's a web service format. Okay. So total, how many ways we can create? 3 ways we can create. We can create the objects in 3 ways. One is standard navigation. Second one is schema builder. Third one is your SOAP API metadata web service. Now we are going to discuss 2 points. Declarative, that is a standard navigation, and schema. The next one. The same format will be available in the Lightning as well as in the Classic. Okay. So let us look at this navigation now. Setup, build, create. Don't look at your documents. Look at the screen. You can take home. Setup, build, create objects. Then we have a concept of new custom object. Setup, build, create objects, new custom object. Now, if I go to Lightning, setup, setup, platform tools, objects and fields, object manager. Now we can go with new, create new custom object. Setup, platform tools, objects and fields, object manager. Create custom object. This is how we got, right, boss? So what is changing here? Navigation is changing. But once you navigate, what we are getting is the same, right? In both the cases, what is changing? Only navigation. So if we look at this, what is the navigation for Classic? Setup, build, create objects, new custom object. If you go to Lightning, setup, platform tools, objects and fields, create new custom object or new object. Now, let us see one by one step. We have a label name, we have a URL. Label, URL label. Label, I am giving, when I say label, with what name object will be displayed on the UI. When I display a list of objects, with what name this object will be displayed on the UI? Let me show you. When I am showing a list of objects, all these are what? Objects. With what name the objects are displayed? Objects are displayed with these names. The name with which the object is displayed on the UI, that name is called object label. Then we have a plural label. If you are creating a tab, when you have number of tables in the database, how will you open a particular table? Now, let us say this is our database. In the database, I have so many tables. When you have so many tables in the database, how would you open a particular table? Now, if a user want to open a table, how will you open it? If user want to open a table, how will you open it? So here we are going to have when user clicks on the tab, corresponding object will open. So for every object what we are doing, we are having a tab. When user click on the tab, Ishwan, when user clicks on the tab, if the corresponding object is going to be open. Now, how do you know this tab is for this object? Whatever the name we are printing on the tab, that will help us to recognize this tab is for this object. So the name what you are printing on the tab is called plural label. For an object, if you are creating a tab, the name that should be printed on the tab is called plural label. The name that should be printed on the tab is called plural label. Are you getting my point? Okay. Look at this. Let me open. Campaigns. What you are able to see? Campaigns, leads, accounts, contacts, all these are what? Tabs associated with a object. How they are given? Generally they give plural names. For account object, accounts, contact object, contacts, opportunity object, opportunities, they are giving what? Plural name. So the name with that should be printed on the tab is called plural label. So I am giving here customer. It is not necessary that I have to give a customers. If I give similar name, easy for you to recognize. I can give ABC also, but you have to remember. If you give similar name, it is easy for you to recognize. It is not necessary that it has to be a same name. Right? Okay. Label, plural label. What is the next one we have? Object name. What is that object name? Actual name of the object. Label is with what name you are displaying. Plural is what are you printing. Object name is actual name of the object. Then we have description. Now we have context sensitive help setting. Now look at this. Every object has help on the top. When I click on help, what is that? Account. You are finding help for this page. When you click on this, Salesforce is providing standard documentation. Salesforce is providing standard documentation for help. Salesforce is providing standard documentation for your help. Salesforce is providing standard documentation for your help. Okay. Now, if you go to contacts object, Salesforce is providing standard documentation with respect to contacts. So for every object, they are providing one standard documentation. For every object, they are providing one standard documentation. Right. Similarly, you are creating a new object. On your object also, I will give a link called help for this page. For every object, I am providing a link called help for this page. Even for your object, I am giving a link called help for this page. Even for your object, I am providing a link called help for this object. When you click on that link, what is the documentation that should be open? When you click on the link, what is the documentation I want to open? That's called help for this page. Now, when you click on this, what is the document that should be open? That I am giving as what? Context sensitive help sheet. This is a context sensitive help sheet. What was that called? Context sensitive help sheet. If I choose this, with respect to this object, when I select the help, which document has to open? First option, open the standard Salesforce help and training window. Open the standard Salesforce help and training window. It will open the Salesforce standard documentation. Second, open a new window using a Visual Force. The Visual Force pages what you have created, you can choose any one of them. Either you can choose the standard help or you can choose the Visual Force page. This will be opened when you click on help. Okay. Next, very important, record name label. Salesforce by default Salesforce by default created one standard field for every object. Every custom object I create, Salesforce internally creates one standard field. This is how we got name. Salesforce by default created one standard field for every object. This is the required field. You are supposed to enter the data also. Now, by default, for every custom object, Salesforce create one standard field called name field. In this field, it is a required field. In this field, what type of data we can enter? Now, the data what we can enter is auto number or text. When I say auto number, which type of data we can enter in this? Auto number or text. When I say auto number, you tell me the format starting with 1. So whenever you create a new record, system will automatically generate the number. You tell me the format, system will automatically generate it. Invoice, month, I gave this format. So system will automatically generate the number. Invoice 11, so 09. This is how we are creating. Are you getting my point here? So system will auto generate the number based on the format what you mentioned. System will auto generate. This is auto generated, auto number. text. When I say text, I was supposed to enter. System will not generate. I was supposed to enter the data. System will not generate. I was supposed to enter the data. Are you clear about this? There are two formats. One is auto number. Other one is text. When I say auto number, system has to generate the number based on the format what you give. When I say text, based on the value what you entered, that will be saved. Text means you have to enter. Auto number means system generates. Text you have to enter. Auto number system will generate. I hope you are good. Okay. Now look at this. Now I told it's a mandatory field. The moment I say mandatory field, you have to know how to use it. Now let us say customer. In the name field, I want to store this as last name. Whatever the name field is there, in that name field, I want to store the last name. But when you give UI, what customer will feel? Customer will feel is a name. But according to you, what is mandatory? You want to make that field as last name. Now, Salesforce already created the field and told you have to use it. How you have to use it? You have to think about it. It is your requirement. Now, when you say name, I may not store the name. I want to give only last name as a required. First name is an optional. So, what type of data I want to store? Last name. Here, invoice. Do you have any name for invoice? Here, I want to store invoice number. In that field, what data I want to store? Invoice number, which is auto-generated. Now, field name is name, but what type of data we are storing? Invoice number. So, the type of data what we are storing, I have to represent to the user. Otherwise, there is ambiguity. The user feels that it is the name of a customer. Look at the format. When I am giving on the UI, if I give it like this, what user will feel? User feels that it's a name of the customer. But actually, what is your intention? Okay. What is your intention? You just want to store. This was your intention. This was your intention. But customer field name as a name of the customer. So to remove this ambiguity, you display this field with what name? With what name you want to display? Actually, it's name only. The last name. So this is called record label. With what name? Name field is displayed on the UI. With what name? Name field is displayed on the UI is called record label name. Now we have invoice. When I am showing it, I cannot show it as like a name. When I say name, people may feel invoice name. People may feel it's an invoice name. But what actually I am trying to display here? I want to display invoice number. What I want to take here? Invoice number. So I want to give record label. I hope you are good. With what name, with what label, the name field should be displayed on the UI is given as record label. I hope everybody is good. What was that name field? What was the name field? By default, on every custom object, Salesforce has created one standard custom field, one standard field. What is that field? Name field. It is a required field. You don't have an option. You are supposed to use it. So, what type of data we can use? There are two formats. One is a text, other one is a auto number. Text is system will generate based on the format what you have given. Okay, am I right? So when I say text, you are supposed to enter the data. Auto number means system will generate based on your format. Text, you are going to enter. Auto number, system will generate. Okay. Now, how this field should be displayed? Because by default, Salesforce gave a name. Salesforce is calling it as a name. But how we are going to display this on the UI? It is called a record label name. Record label name. Now, any query from your end on this? Look at this. What was this? Customer name label format. So, what I want to store? Customer ID. I want to make it as auto number. Each zero indicate one digit. I hope you are good. So, once again, label name of the object, plural label of the object, actual name of the object, description, context sense to help. Then we had name field, data type of the name field, what is the format in which the data should be represented. Now, next we have optional features. What are these optional features? This can be enabled or disabled at any stage of the application. As per your requirement, you can enable them or you can disable them at any stage of the application. As per your requirement, you can enable them or disable them at any stage of the application. I repeat, as per your requirement, you can enable or disable at any stage of your application. Then what are they? Allow reports. It allows you to create reports on the data what is there in the table. In the table, whatever the data we have on the table, on the data, I want to create a report. On the table, whatever the data we have in the table, on that we want to store. Let us say, on that we want to create a report. Let us say, customer table. Create a report to know how many customers are created month-wise in the January, March, and September. Create a report to see how many customers have, how many new customers have joined in the last 15 days. Create a report to show how many customers have joined in the last month from Bangalore. What was that? We are trying to use the data which is in this customer table, make some analysis. That is called a reporting. If I want to create a report, I have to enable the option. What was that? Allow reports. If I enable this, we will be able to create a report. Every point is one separate topic. We'll be discussing 1 hour plus on that every topic. Right now, just understand what the point is. Allow activities. It allows you to create a task and event, assigning a work or conducting an event. All the customers from Bangalore attend the meeting on 23rd. Okay, whenever a new customer is created, send him the confirmation mail. So what was that? Assigning a task or calling for an event. Now, track field history. There is a sensitive data. When there is a sensitive data, I want to track who is modifying, when it was modified, what is the old value, what is the new value. Now, if there is any sensitive data, you want to track the changes that are made on the data. Then we say track field history. Allow in charter groups. If I enable this, object will be available for charter. Object will be available for charter. Now, what is that allow reports means? What is the purpose? What is the allow reports? Allow reports is for what? Allows you to create reports on the table which we are creating. Allow activities means task and events. Track field history, it will track the history of the changes what you made. Allow in charter groups, it will be added to the charter. Now, these options are optional features. As per your requirement, at any time you can enable or at any time you can disable. Next we have object classification. Now you are creating an object. Is this object is for enterprise application or lightning application? Object you are creating, is this object is purely designed for lightning or is it designed for enterprise? object designed for enterprise can also be used in Lightning. Object used in the Lightning cannot be used in enterprise because Lightning objects will have lesser features. Objects which are created purely for Lightning will have lesser features. So now objects which are created in the enterprise, they can also be used in Lightning. Objects created for Lightning will not be available for enterprise. Now they are asking, boss, is it a Lightning or a enterprise application? Now Lightning is what? Single page application. Enterprise is regular application. Okay. Now if I enable all the three, allow sharing, allow bulk API, allow streaming API. If you enable all the three, it is enterprise application object. If you disable any one of it, rest of the two also will be disabled. So it is what? Lightning. If you disable any one of the three option, it is Lightning application object. If I enable all the three, it is enterprise application object. Enable three, enterprise application object. You disable any one of it, Lightning application object. I hope you are clear. Deployment status. Now you have created this object. Do you want to make it live so that everybody can use it? Yes. Then say deployed. When you say deployed, object is ready for access. Object is ready for access. Based on your security model, you can see the object. When you say in development, process of development is not completed. Only admin can see this object. In development means only admin can see this. Deployed means everyone can see based on security model. Object is ready for access. Everyone can see based on security model. In development, object is not ready for access. Only admin can see this object. Only admin can see this object. I hope you are good. Okay. Then allow search. Now look at this. I am giving it. When I type here, we are able to search for this data from account. The data which is available in the account, I was able to search from the global search. Similarly, can I search your data from global search or not? The data which is in your table, can I search it from global search? The data which is in your table, can I search it with a global search? If yes, allow search. When I say allow search, I am allowing you to search my data from global search. I am allowing you to search for your data from global search. So what was that? Allow search. Next we have object creation options. These options are available only at the time of creating a object. Once the object is created, I cannot enable or disable. Once the object is created, I cannot enable or disable. This is object creation options. Once the object is created, I cannot enable or disable this option. First one, add nodes and attachments. Add nodes and attachments. When I say nodes and attachments, look at this. It will add this block on the record. If I enable this, add nodes and attachments, this block will be added on the record. Next, launch a new custom tab. Once the object creation is done, it will take you to tab creation page. Once the object creation is done, it will take you to tab creation page. Let us do everything from the beginning again. Now look at that. Navigation, setup, build, create object, new custom object, label, name with which object should be displayed, plural label, what is the name that should be printed on the tab, object name, actual name of the object, context sensitive. When somebody click on help, which document you want me to open? Either the standard Salesforce document or Visual Force page. Standard Salesforce document, this Visual Force page, select this. Depends upon your. Now enter record name label. How the name field should be displayed. How the name field should be displayed. By default, on every custom object, Salesforce create one custom. Salesforce create one standard field. What is the standard field called? Name field. By default, Salesforce, Salesforce will create 18. Okay. By default, Salesforce will create one standard field called name field. How that name field should be displayed? How that name field should be displayed? That is given by record name. So here I am saying customer ID. It is accept a text or auto number. Text means you have to enter, auto number system will generate. If you want the system to generate, specify the format. Okay. Next, what we have? Optional features. What are they? They can be enabled or disabled at any stage of the application. Allow reports. Allows you to create reports on the data which is stored in this table. Allow activities. Allows you to create tasks and events. Track field history. If you enable this, whatever the sensitive data is there, the changes on the field can be tracked time to time. Allow in chatter groups. I can allow, if I enable this object can be used in chatter. Now what you want to do is your choice. Object classification. Is this table is designed for Lightning application or an enterprise application? What is the difference? Lightning means single page application. Entire app is built on single page. Enterprise is a combination. Right. If I enable all the three, it is an enterprise. If I disable any one, it is a Lightning. Deployment status. Now is the object is ready for access to everyone? Deployed. No, it is only accessible for administrator, not ready for access for any other user in development. Allow search. If I enable it, the data in this table, you can search from global search. Object classification and object creation. Now, what is this object creation? Object classification, Lightning or a classic, deployed or not deployed. Then we have, can I search your data? This is object creation. These options are available only at the time of creating. Once object is created, I cannot enable or disable this from the same page. Right. This is to add notes and attachments on the record. This is to launch tab. Right now I am not selecting this. So object is created. Look at this, what we have, underscore. Now object is created here. Now I want to edit it. Setup, build, create, objects, customer, edit. You are able to see same label, plural label, object name, context sensitive, record name. If I want, I can enable now. Now deployment. What about the last two options? They are not available. I told they are available only at the time of creating an object. Right. Next, I hope you are good with this. Now once again, go back. How do you create? Let us go to the Lightning and create now. Same nav, okay, same format. What we have? Platform tools, objects and fields, platform tools, objects and fields, object manager, create new custom objects. label name, payments, object name payment. We have context sensitive, help and setting. Now, which document you want to open? I want to open Salesforce document. Then record name, label and format. Record name, label and format. With what label you want to display this? Then optional features, reports, allow activities, track field history, allow in. Allow reports, allows you to create report, allow activities, you can create a task and event, track field history, you can track the changes what you made on the field, allow in charter groups, it allows you to allow in charter groups. What does it mean? It allows you to add the object to the charter. Object classification, lightning or classic, deployment status, object classification, lightning or enterprise, deployment status, in development or deployed as per your requirement. Then we have search status. We have allow search. Object creation options. Object creation option available only at the time of creating a object. So the process of creation is same in both the cases. The only thing is navigation is different. I hope you are good with this. Now, what about the last one? If I choose the last option, what will happen? Setup, build, create objects, new custom object, loans, allow reports, allow activities, object classification already we know, deployment status, deployed, allow search. If I select the last option, save it. Once the object is saved, it is taking you to what? Creation of tab. It is taking you to what? Tab creation. Because object is created, create a tab. Because if you don't create a tab, I cannot access this object. Object is accessible only when I create a tab. If we can't create a tab, we cannot work on the object. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Now, what is the second way of creating the object? Schema builder. Let us see that. Setup. First process is clear. Setup, build, lightning bolt, schema builder. Clear all elements. Give the object name. Now, context sensitive, record name. Look at the point. Label name, plural name. Then we have object name, context sensitive, data type. We are creating it. Drag and drop. What I am doing? Go to the schema builder, setup, build, schema builder, elements, drag and drop, this is how we got. So drag and drop we are creating. But the point is, once you created, go to the object and see what are the changes you are finding. When you create with a standard navigation, schema builder, objects are created. But what are not enabled when you create with a schema builder? You created a branch with a schema builder. When you go to this, let us identify what are not enabled. Object classification. By default, they are giving us what? Lightning. Because we are using a lightning bolt structure. So by default, they are giving us what? Lightning. You want to make it? Are you clear with this? By default, they are giving it as what? Lightning. You need to make it enterprise. You have to select it. I hope you are good. I hope you are good with this. Right.
What is enterprise application?
Regular application, normal application. Lightning is one page application. Right. Now, look at this. Now, the schema builder, whatever the schema builder we have, we can also customize existing object. You can look at this. Choose the object what we have, branch, select it. What is the object I created? Customer. Right. We can also search for the object, modify the properties. I hope you are good. This is what schema builder. When you have group of objects to be created, I will follow schema builder. I will create all the objects. Later on, I will modify the permissions. Are you clear about this? Now, how do you create in the lightning? Go to this platform tools, objects and fields. What we have? The same story. So navigation is set up. Platform tools, objects and fields. I hope you are good. These are the two ways. Now the point is, objects falls under which part of MVC? Object falls under which part of MVC? You have created an object. This object is a part of which MVC? Model, view, controller. So the database always falls under model part of MVC. So the objects are created for storing the data. Any data we want to save in the Salesforce, that is internally stored in objects only. That's why objects falls under model part of MVC. Objects falls under model part of MVC. Objects falls under model part of MVC. I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear. Okay. Now, I hope everybody is clear with this. Right. Let us understand creation of tab for this. So what is a tab? Tab is a interface between user and application. Now basically, what is an application? Application is a collection of tabs. Now look at this. This is my database. Now this is one org, your production org. Production org means all this data belongs to a single company. This is my production org. The moment I say production, this belongs to one org, let us say ICACA. The entire data what is available in this org, so I have some tables here, customer table. This is what I have. For every object, on one object, I can only create one tab. On one object only we can create one tab. This on one object only one tab can be created. Now in the force.com, this is entire force.com, right? Now I am building number of applications here. In the same org, I am building number of application. In the production, I can build number of application. So what is the application here? Application is a collection of tabs. Now this is a banking application. I was building a banking application. In this, I am including I am going for a credit card management application. So one tab can be a part of multiple applications because the data belongs to same org. The data belongs to the same company. I can use my data in any of the application. Whatever the applications I have, I can use this data in any one of my application. Now this all belongs to a single company. So I can use my data in any number of application. So on an object, we can have only one tab. On an object, I can have only one tab. On an object, I can only create one tab. One tab can be a part of multiple application. I can use the same table in multiple application. How can you use? Include the tab in the application. Are you getting my point? Right now what we have done? Created the objects. Now for the object, what we are supposed to do? Create the tabs. Now include these tabs in whichever the application you want. Same table can be used in multiple applications because the application belongs to the same company. I hope you are good. One object, one tab. One tab can be a part of many applications. I hope you got my point. Clear? Clear, boss? Okay. Let us go to creation of tab. So first of all, what is a tab? Tab is a interface between user and application. Tab is a interface between user and application. There are different types of tab. One of the tab we have seen. What is that? Tab for an object. But other tabs are also there. Let us understand this. Setup, build, create tabs. Navigation, setup, build, create. What are the tabs? Custom object tab. Tab for the custom object. Web tab. When you click on this, web page will open. When I click on this, web page will open. Now we have Visual Force tab. When I click on this, Visual Force page will open. Lighting page tab. When I click on this, lighting page will open. So when I click on this, object will open. When I click on this, tab will open. Web tab, web page. When I click on this, Visual Force. When I click on this, lighting page. All these three are development. Now right now what we are doing is custom object tab. You have to build a web page. You have to build a Visual Force page. You have to build a lighting page. Right now what we are doing is custom object tab. What is the navigation? Setup, build, create tabs. Choose the object, customer. Choose a style. When you click on the tab, what is the color that should be displayed? Now, here we have visibility. What is that? Default on. When I say default on, default on means you can see the tab on the tab panel. You can see the tab and the tab is added on the panel. You can see and the tab is on the panel. When I say default off, you can see the tab but not on the panel. You have to click on plus sign Here you can see the tab. Default on means straight away here it will be displayed. Default off means it is visible to you, not on the panel. Click on the plus sign, you will be able to see. Tab hidden, you cannot see. Are you clear about it? Default on panel. Default off, not on the panel. Click plus sign, you can see. Tab hidden, you cannot. Okay. Now look at the point. Next. You are creating a new tab. Now they are asking, this tab should be added to which application? At the time of creating an application, whatever the tabs are there, I have added them into application. Now it is a new tab what we are creating. Now they are asking, this tab should be included in which applications? Now we are adding a new one. They are saying the tab should be added in which application? So I told loan. Add them to loan management. I told include this tab in this application. Which application? Loan management. Which application? Loan management. Once again, setup. We had setup, build, create tabs, custom object tabs. We have payment tabs. Next, default on, default off, and tab hidden. On, panel, off, plus sign. Okay, tab hidden, can't see. The next, in which application? Select the application. I don't want in every application, only on. I hope you are good with this. People have followed. Right. So go to the loan management application. You're able to see customers and customer A00, payment A01. Are you clear about it? Clear for everyone? Now, the moment you add a tab to an application, when the tab is added in the application, you get an option here. Look at this. Customer and payment, right? This is called quick create. I can click on this and create. You want to create a new record, I can create from here. This is called quick create records. Okay. Are you clear about the format? Right, boss? In the lightning, let us see how you create. We have done in the classic. The steps of creating is same. Only navigation is changing in both the cases. What was the stuff? Setup. You practice on the lightning more, Amma. Okay. In coming days, it will be helpful to you. Okay. Then we have platform tools, user interface, platform tools, user interface, new, I have loan, style, next, visibility, default on, application, this is how I create. I hope you are good with this. Right, Amma? People are done with this format. This is how we are creating. Any other queries on the concept of creation of object and tabs? So unless you create a tab, you cannot access the object using declarative. Right, boss?